jukebox video mentioned that seeds are planted. And something that we can all do is plant seeds. It was interesting being down south and seeing how much more open they are to Carolinas about Christianity than we are up here. Huge billboards in the highways proclaiming the gospel. Gospel music in some of the restaurants. And people greeting it with God bless you rather than just hello.
Yes.
It's refreshing. It's also refreshing to see, even though we're on vacation, the pastor doesn't take a break. There she was in the pool outside the hotel, talking to someone about Christ and praying with them in the pool. Pastor Dave walked over to someone he never saw before and started ministering to him. Most of us don't have the gumption to do that. I'm one of them. But we can all do something. We rely too much on that verse from Ephesians, which says, "It is by grace you are saved through faith, and not by works." Because sometimes we get the impression that works aren't important. But you know, it says also that after we die, we may be saved, but then there's a judgment. And we are not judged on our faith. We're judged on our works. It is by works that you will be judged, not by faith. So, sometimes it's important to understand that. It says in Matthew that whosoever does the will of my Father shall be called my brother or my sister or my mother. And he also says that many will cry out, Lord, Lord, but it is only those who do the will and the works of my Father who will be really accepted into heaven. Sometimes we don't appreciate how much influence one little work can do. We can't, we won't all be great evangelists spreading the gospel to thousands of people. But sometimes that little seed that gets planted by a shoebox, or something that you say, or something that you give, some little thing can do a lot. There is a history of a young man who went from Northfield, Massachusetts to Boston when he was a teenager. He had a grade 5 education, and he went to Boston to get a job working in his uncle's shoe store. His uncle gave him the job on the condition that he would go to the uncle's church, a Congregationalist church. This young boy wasn't really interested. Besides, he was a Unitarian, and Unitarians don't believe in the salvation of the soul or in the divinity of Christ. So he did go for a while, went to Sunday school. Sunday school teacher had this boy and a few others in the class. He said this class was like trying to herd kittens, trying to keep them all settled, but he did what he could. He developed a rapport with this young boy. So when the young boy stopped going to Sunday school, the teacher, the name of Edmund Kimball, went to the shoe store to see him. Now this was not Edward's forte. He didn't like going out. He didn't even like teaching Sunday school that much, but he did it. But anyway, he got the courage up and went into the shoe store and ministered to this boy in his place of work. Something we all could do almost every day if we had the guts to do it. The boy was affected and accepted Christ. Edward Kimball didn't know it at the time, but the boy he was talking to was called Dwight Moody.
Wow. Wow.
He went on to become a great evangelist.
Yes.
And he ministered all over Europe and North America. All because one person went into a shoe store and ministered.
Yes.
But as Paul Harvey would say, the story doesn't end there. There's the rest of the story. You see, Moody was doing a crusade one day in England. And a gentleman came to him and received Christ. His name was Meyer. He also went on to become an evangelist. And he ministered all over Europe and North America. And one of his crusades took place in Chicago. And one of the people who came forward at his crusade was a man by the name of Chapman, who in his own turn became a missionary and an evangelist. One of the people he ministered to in Chicago was a baseball player. A baseball player who, with some other people, went to hear a crusade. The other ones apparently did not receive very much, but this young boy did. To the point that he ended up leaving baseball and in turn also became an evangelist. When Chapman took over the reins of a large church and stopped being an evangelist, Billy Sunday, which is a baseball player's name, took over and developed a great evangelical ministry. In fact, during the course of his ministry, he ministered to more people in the world than any other person had up to that point in time. He ministered all over the U.S. and especially in the southern part of the states. One of the people he ministered to was a man by the name of Ham. And this fellow, in turn, also became an evangelist. One day, Billy Sunday was supposed to do a ministry in Charlotte, North Carolina. And this Reverend Ham had to fill in. There was a group of teenagers in Charlotte who were acting out. And they went to this crusade in an effort to sort of maybe disrupt things or just have fun with them. One of them was a fellow by the name of Billy Frank. Billy Frank got touched that night, and he went back again and again. And at the age of 16, gave his heart to Christ. We know him today by Billy Graham.
Wow. Wow.
And Billy Graham has ministered to more people than anyone else. You see, this all happened because one Sunday school teacher went into a shoe store and ministered to one child. We don't know what's happening when we go out and just mention the name of Christ to anyone. It may not be a great night. It may not be something that we think is very important. But sometimes it changes lives and changes countries. It says in Peter to always be ready to give a reason for the hope that is within you. The problem with many Christians today is we're never ready to give that reason. We never understand enough to give that reason. And it's something that really affects the entire Christian faith. Billy Sunday used to say, being in church, attending a church and sitting in a pew no more makes you a Christian than standing in a garage makes you a car. It's what you do. It's the works that you do that amplify the faith that you have and can change the world around us, even if it's only one person that you touch in your lifetime. We don't know how many people the Sunday school teacher might have had in his classes, how often he taught, how many he ministered to, but it only took one to change the world. Something to think about.